running across the street to Walmart this morning for a few necessities. We're still not needing to carry much food in this section. Like, we have another grocery store tomorrow in Lyons, but there's a couple things that we can only get from Walmart, like fuel, the really sticky kind of athletic tape for blisters and stuff. So just picking out a couple of those. Another thing I'm doing while Matt's catching up on videos is touching up the zippers on the tent. Those are usually the first part of the tent to have an issue, and arguably the most important part of the tent, because without a fully functioning zipper, you cannot protect yourself from the mosquitoes. This stuff seems to be pretty good as far as reviving stuck zippers. It's probably nothing fancy. It seems like it might be glycerol based, but it does the trick, keeps us going out here. Nemo also is really good about any kind of repairs, so we could send it in, have them replace the zipper.
And we are once again trying to race out of the nice hotel room after a very busy morning. Welcome to Kansas, where they brag about being central. It's kind of like Inyo Kern bragging about halfway to everywhere, middle of nowhere. Okay, and now we're leaving town. I managed to get Jen out of that subway. I was like ready to go, let's just go. She was like, no, I need to eat. I drank too much coffee. So it is a little before noon. It is depressingly hot, and if everything looks hazy up in the sky, that is not my phone. We are getting smoke from wildfires somewhere. It apparently stretches from here to Canyon City because my parents were talking about it. So one of the advantages of the map set we're using, Hiking America, is that it has notes from other hikers over the last couple of years. So if you've been watching the last couple of days, you know, we cut through that wetlands, and then a couple of days, yesterday we had the Sunflower Trail. So this section, the official route, is on a busier road, but there was notes from Bernie back in, I think, 22, with a alternate that is quieter. And it's basically just off to the side of the busier road, same mileage, yada yada. So we are obviously leaving a bit late today. Normally I like walking closer to 8 o'clock. Hell, I would prefer to be walking earlier, but I got videos and things to do. The reason why we hung around is we had a hotel, we needed to resupply, do some other things. And we're trying to do these slower mornings on occasion to kind of offset the need for a zero. Traditionally, I was taking 0 days far more often than I have been on this trail. So it's been a mix of trying to do more slow mornings out of hotels and just trying to walk through the swollen feet, pain, etc., etc. At the moment, I think the only zero I've had since Jen joined me was that one when I was having the dental scare. The other thing that has been keeping me from taking an actual zero is I am eternally convinced that things are going to get worse, things are going to get rougher. If I can make it through to where my parents are, you know, Canyon City, hell, if I can make it to Pueblo, I will be at least through the big exposed rough part. But between now and then, if there is another major heat wave, that is going to take a little bit of doing to get through. So I don't want to give up a day where it's only in the 90s, only to have it be 100 degrees for the next week. People sometimes message me going, why don't you take a couple of days off and get back to like 100%? And at least for me, I'm never to 100%. Early on in the trip, you know, like when I was on the CNO and all that, before I got sick, hell, even after I got sick, I had a lot more energy. By the time I am 1,500 miles into a trip, I'm well adjusted to it. My head is down. I am pushing forward hard, but I'm always tired. I just don't have the extra energy to get through the videos and do supplemental stuff. It takes everything I have just to, you know, push another 25 miles day after day. And at least for me, that's just how it goes. If I take a zero, a double zero, it helps a little bit, but it still just wears me down, and I'm never going to voluntarily take, you know, a week off during a hike just because I'm always trying to get as much as I can done within a limited season. I did recover pretty good last year on the CDT when I got forced off trail for 3 weeks, but I was also distraught and going crazy. So it's just a phase of the hike. At least in the past, when I was doing the ECT, by the time I got to the northern AT, the wearing on me was taking a bigger and bigger mental toll to where I was consistently doing shorter days than I wanted. I was doing easy 25s down in Georgia, and by the time I was up in Maine, I was more struggling to make 15 sometimes. And some of that is the terrain. But also look at when I was road walking up in Nova Scotia, you know, shorter days, colder days. I didn't have quite the same drive. I was tired, I wasn't gonna quit, but I wasn't quite hopping out of the tent, blaring, ready to go, bright and early. I do have some hope I'll just handle things better this time. It was very different my first through hike, you know, getting used to doing a big thing like that. 'Cause the only thing I'd done before was a dinky little thing like the JMT, which you know it's going to end, so it's not really the same challenges as something like the PCT, AT, etc. And now, like I was mentioning, I'm not as in dire need of zeros and other things quite as much. I'm just more adapted to being on the move and uncomfortable and all of that. So hopefully I'll be able to maintain a better pace. At the moment, I am on target to finish in November sometime, assuming the Sierra early winter weather cooperates. But I'm well aware that that could fall apart. I can get delayed for any number of reasons, and generally trying to do calculations based on no breaks, you're always going to slip past that. We are aiming for around 25 miles a day if we can manage it. We probably won't today, we'll be closer to 20. And I am doing calculations based on 22 a day, low enough that I can still exceed it. So if I can keep up that, I can get ahead and the breaks will work out. I am planning to take 2 days off probably when I see my parents. I'm just going to need to offload some things from my phone. There's just a lot of question marks as far as how things are going to go for the latter part of this trip. I figure once September rolls around, things are going to start to get easier weather-wise for a while. It'll probably get cold, but at least the heat waves will be done. I should be in pretty good shape for a crossing of Nevada and Utah during the colder months, so when I have limited access to water, I can manage that. I'll have to switch to a little heavier gear also at some point. Honestly, if it wasn't for harboring the hope of being able to do the very, very improbable thing of making it all the way to San Francisco in 1 year, you know, while not doing any of the shorter routes or slack packing or anything, I would be feeling pretty good about where I am right now. For the moment, at least, we are both feeling far, far better after having been able to do laundry and get a good shower. Both of our clothes were pretty encrusted with salt brine from all the sweating, and you know, the humidity has dropped, so we're drying more as we go. From here, it looks like things are going to start getting a little more spread out as we get into more of a western aspect of Kansas, but it does look like there is at least a fair-sized town at the end of each section. So at least for the remainder of Kansas, we should be pretty good. Those guys let me fill a water bottle off their fountain. And I told the first guy what I was doing, and then when the second guy came up, first guy turned to it and went, "He's walking across the world!" I was like, no, just the country, only the country, not that good at swimming. I wanted to camel up because it is bloody warm, and we are now out in the middle of nowhere for a good long while. Feels like we aren't the only ones cooking. Those things are rather dry. So we were able to beg water from these guys and take a break in the shade, because these any place out of the sun is few and far between today. A little before 6 o'clock, and we just took a break in the shade because we don't know when we're going to find shade again. And it has been bloody warm. It is 96 today, if you believe the weather app, and tomorrow it is supposed to be even warmer. Our plan here is we're going to hike as late as we're feeling it. We don't really have a goal where we need to get to, just want to take advantage of the cooler weather. Start early tomorrow because I kind of feel like if it's 98 degrees and it is like what we're seeing here, we may need to do the midday siesta, assuming we can find some place to siesta. As Jen said, it's not like we'd really have to worry about missing much scenery if we switch to night hiking right now. .39, and we are currently knocking on the first of a couple of these remote farms, seeing if they'll give us water. What? People love you loaded down with bottles. So nobody answered the door. Taters filled up off of some pump in their front yard. So we're just hoping that the water out of said pump is not going to kill us or turn our babies blue. What? So the water actually tasted a little bit wrong to me, but it's kind of beggars and choosers at this point. And as it gets late like this, you know, we don't want to be approaching people's farms at 9 o'clock at night. So we have enough water to get through the night. Our plan is to take advantage of the cooler weather, you know, and hike into the night at least a couple of hours. We're just going to set up on the side of one of these fields, unless we find like a tree clearing or something that really seems promising. Normally I'm all about being hidden. Out here we've had pretty positive reactions from the farmers, and there's also not a whole lot of empty alcohol bottles on the side of the road. That's one of the things that usually gets me worrying about being set up at night, just because, you know, you get the people that go out to drink. Some people are angry drunks. Sometimes angry drunks throw 2x4s through people's tents, yada yada. After 9, we're going to push it a little further. We don't really have anything we're aiming for as far as a campsite. It's just going to be best we can manage with an early start in the morning. I keep hoping somebody's going to stop and talk to us, but no luck so far. I swear it seems like when we have a place to go, we're finding stealth camps left and right. We've got people offering us rides to places. We got offers to camp. When we don't have anything, nothing. So we are currently eyeballing options at the edge of the field here, hidden from roads, at least a little bit. So we found something that we think we can make work, and we're gonna get going early, so hopefully we shouldn't have to worry about much here.
After about 6 weeks of hiking between the cornfields, we are finally camping in a cornfield. At least at the edge of a cornfield. Home sweet home for the night.